looks like he's coming our way. Hopefully we can scare him away.
Oh, a pain in the ass. Like you can tell, my face is half my head is the size of a cantaloupe this morning. I guess I understand it's a bit of a serious thing, right? So I got a pre-plug in my arm. So I go get plugged in again tomorrow and the next day for some drip antibiotics. I guess Sarah's pretty concerned when I woke up. My face is all like that. There's a big sack right there underneath my eye, and the pressure is freaking. It's crazy how fast it happened, though. What was that? The day before yesterday? The day before yesterday. Launching the boat in the river. Touched my tooth and I'm like, holy, just walking was making it pound. Bong, bong. I'm like, holy cow, what the hell's going on? And then that night it blew up. Went to the hospital. Apparently she prescribed painkillers. And Sarah ran into another poor girl at the pharmacist who was freaking right out about her pain, and she was prescribed as well. Excuse me. So last night was pretty uncomfortable for me. I guess she gave me some other prescription today for one type of pain med, and then some morphine if it really picks up. Holy shit, I'll tell you what, this is such bad timing. I think what frustrates me the most is not being able to do things. Like, I just missed out on another elk hunt. I should have been filming. They got the elk this morning. It's an okay bull. Day one. If I was there, I would have talked him out of it and got him to hold off for a monster. But anyway, missed out on that. It's raining now. But one thing I can do is I can still do this. There's no way I'm sitting in that house today and doing nothing. There's no way I'm laying down doing nothing. So I will take this time to make sure I get more people heard. That's what I'm going to do. It's funny when you Google up, when this happens to you, I guess it's quite serious. There's a lot of people who died from this. Crazy, right? But I guess I'm sticking around. Guess I'm sticking around. Anyway, let me get set up here. Get everything going. And get some important voices heard besides my snow one, right? Let's get into it. Anyway, lots going on in the world, isn't there? If you follow it. Probably should go. This does kind of hurt, but oh well. Anyway, there's a lot going on in the world. A lot of real bad things going on in the world. It's really horrible. It's really horrible. But I guess if you do have interest, you are already aware. And if you don't have interest, you're way far behind. And I think me sounding the alarm probably wouldn't do much at this stage of the game anyway, right? We're so deep into global destruction right now. It's really, really alarming and sad. But anyway, I can say one thing that I always think outside the box and think at different angles. This is like, it's too bad that our character flaw is to accommodate violence, killing, which comes with the craving for power, right? It's too bad. It's too bad that our how am I going to say? I'm trying to get my mind to mesh up with my lips, because in my head it's kind of funny. I just can't. I got to deliver it the right way so you're picking up what I'm putting down. But it's too bad that our flaw, the flaw in human beings, is it always comes to death and destruction. Right? The deep dark state. What's it called? The war complex. At all costs, they promote war, non-stop to benefit themselves. They chose war. They chose death and destruction of humans. Right? Now, why couldn't it have been the opposite side? Why couldn't our character flaw be the opposite? Say, as an example, instead of having it be the, what's it called, the war complex machine, whatever you want to call it, or the deep dark state, which uses war, killing, and mayhem, the production of arms to create whatever it is they need. Too bad it wasn't partying down that the deep state promoted at all costs, instead of death and destruction. You see what I mean? Could you imagine? Imagine how fun this planet would be if our character flaw wasn't to kill each other and blow the shit out of each other, but instead was to promote partying down and having one hell of a time. Wouldn't that be funny? The headlines would be like, well, in headlines today, Monday morning, universities and colleges across the world were protesting today because of how much fun everybody was having. And once again, they're blaming the deep party state on promoting such partying and festive times and all these people laughing and dancing and having so much fun, and Congress is going to come and have a meeting to see how we can better regulate the partying. Right? Countries were having contests to see who could have the craziest party. And it's getting out of hand. There's just too many people having too much fun. It's got to be regulated. Right? Who would be the grand poobah of winning the party contest in the globe? Which country do you think? Because it would obviously be, instead of having the most powerful military dominating the air and the skies, if it could have been on the other side of the street, then it would have been the country who chronically promotes partying and dancing and having fun more than any other country in the world. Right? And they're leading the charge. And all the other countries are trying to figure out how they can promote more fun than that country does. But it's pretty tough. Right? I hope I'm sounding a little bit sane. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. It's just too bad that our character flaw goes to promoting and supporting the annihilation of each other instead of, too bad our character flaw could have been the opposite, where that didn't exist, but the human character flaw was to promote partying and dancing and having nothing but fun. Instead, each country was judged as, each country's character was actually judged globally on the global stage at how much fun and partying they promoted. Anyway, listen, at least I got an excuse for talking dog shit, right? I got my head swollen up, I got poison in my head, and I got pills coming out of my yin-yang, and I got a frickin' pipe in my arm. I can get away with not making sense right now, right? Anyway. Yeah, I hung an upside down flag on my profiles, social media. It's time. Join me. Country in distress. Too bad there wasn't a world flag. World in distress right now. It sucks to care. Sometimes it's just frustrating to care. How much comfort maybe it is to not care, right? Anyway, here we go. Let's listen to, oh god, not this one again. I'm sorry, this is the, keep it private. He'll get on later. I sit in the hospital, laying in the bed today at the hospital. Saved a bunch of recents, so here we go. You ready? Hopefully that thing's recording. I'm guessing it is. We're gonna check. Alright, who do we got? This is titled My Sabe Encounters. Bracket, Introduction to Firecrackers, and bracket, Help. Alright, it's a different flavor title. Steve, I've sent all of my encounters, both in the body of this email and attached as a Word document, so you have the both. Please keep my last name private. Gotcha, no problem. All of my encounters, October 10th, 2023. Steve, my name is Robert, and you can share my first name along with my encounters. I've sent all my encounters both in the body of this email and attached as a Word document, so you have both. Please keep my name private. See the statement at the end. Needless to say, this started off a 40-year search for the truth. Not only Sasquatch, but the UFO issue, aliens and other entities. I had no idea the truth would lead to finding a corrupt government, child trafficking, assassinations, UFOs, and finding out Sasquatch is real, and much, much more. It's amazing just how much truth is out there if you open your mind and search. The governments of the world have known the truth about all of this for a very long time and continue to hide the truth from the people. We have a small group of elected and non-elected entities running the planet. To their benefits, not ours. Agreed straight across the board. First encounter, 1970s. Greetings, Steve, and thank you for allowing all of us to share the truth at the round table of knowledge. Don't ever take shit from the government or the money fakers out there. I started following your channel before the Sabe topic was being shared. The first event happened straight south of you in the Olympic Mountains in Washington State in the late 70s. I'm a straightforward, no-nonsense guy, and I don't take crap from anyone, especially the woke liberal community trying to rewrite history and biological definitions. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, hunting and fishing all my life. I lived for it. It was my peace of mind that kept me balanced and recharged for the day-to-day grind making a living. The doctors haven't taken that away from me yet. I still work for the largest aerospace employer in the U.S. as a design engineer. Please do not share my name. It's difficult to go in every day and listen to them push the woke agenda. What a joke. I can tell you, they have tools that the general public would not believe. They see everything and know everything. Nothing gets by them. If you appear on their radar and become a problem, you will cease to exist if they decide. You will disappear faster than a French fry at a seagull feeding frenzy. They track us like sheep. Sorry for the rant, Steve. Too much coffee today. And dealing with the company stooges. My stories are not as wild and scary as many, but here it goes. Maybe there's a piece of knowledge in there for someone. My first encounter was back in the late 70s. We were backpacking at Upper Liana Lake in the Olympic Mountains to get away as boys and do some fishing. It's a good hike, about 15 miles round trip and steep with many switchbacks. The fishing was great, and we're the only people around that particular weekday. It was early summer with a few patches of snow still about. We're going to camp for 3 or 4 days, then move to a new location. We pitched our tents right next to each other and about 20 feet from the lake's edge. We set up camp, started fishing for dinner, and doing a bit of exploring and wood gathering. The fishing was awesome, and we had a fresh pile of trout on the stringers and a roaring fire going to cook them on. We brought an old barbecue grate, which worked wonders for camp cooking, and made a nice round rock pile to build the fire on. I was always the cook because I always brought the good food and seasonings. We finished our dinner, fresh trout and steamed rice, and cleaned up. Hung our gear on the guide line in the tree and put the stringer of fish back in the water to keep them cool. God's fridge. So we could have a good breakfast before exploring more. The 4 of us gathered around the fire and roasted a torpedo and got ready for bed.
Lovey,
Yeah.
if you want that bear, it's just up there at the road.
What road? Alright, bit of an interruption. Luckiest bear on the planet. This big old monster here. And he's been tormenting, 3 different places, all the neighbors, except my place. I've had him right near me in the boat, but where you can't hunt him. Like just where you can't do it. And I don't know how many times he's been cruising right down the side of the dirt road here, not giving a shit. Everybody's seen him. Oh yeah, he's right here a minute ago, right here a minute ago. Here he comes again, he's in the yard again, he's under the kid's swing set again, he's doing this, he's doing that. And Sarah was just going for a walk with the dog and all hell broke loose, and I guess the bear, he went up the tree only about 4 feet. She showed me the bark was missing and Ruby's going apeshit. But the bad thing about a bear that big, when they only go part way up the tree and he's eyeballing them, and he's only, it looked like they're about 20 feet away from each other. Poor Sarah's scared. He's there thinking about fighting. Imagine, poor Sarah with that huge bear and the dog going out 20 feet away from her down the road, and there's no cell service, so down there. Anyway, of course, I go up and down there in the quad of the bow, and I can't find him anywhere. He disappeared. It's almost like he knows. When he sees Sarah, it's almost like he knows, oh, she's gonna go tell on me. Anyway, that's what just happened. Now, where was I? We always keep a clean camp to keep the bear encounters at a minimum. I always run into bears wherever I go. I seem to be a magnet for them. We always come armed, 9mm sidearms, and would always bring ladyfingers, firecrackers for bear trouble along with bear spray. Now, before I get to the event, we never thought Bigfoot was real. We had all seen the movie Boggy Creek and got the hell scared out of us, but never believed it was real. I asked my grandfather several times over the years if he had ever run into them in his hunting travels. He's an old German immigrant, a lifelong hunter who, along with my father, taught me much of what I know about the wilderness. They just laughed at me and told me they didn't believe it was real and had never seen anything, although my father said he came across a terrible smell one hunting trip that they could not locate. He said it was very bad. It was early morning before first light when something woke me and my buddy Danny up. It sounded heavy. We thought a bear was creeping around camp. We could hear a few twigs breaking, so we spoke with hand signals pointing in the direction of the sounds. We could only hear one moving around, but it sounded like a real heavy person walking, and not a bear shuffle. We could feel it in our bedding and the ground when it walked. We had no idea what it was. I peeked through the rain fly and nothing was there. I couldn't see a damn thing, as it was still pitch black out. So, I grabbed a pack of firecrackers, lit the fuse, and tossed them way out away from the tents. Good one. We both had our guns at the ready, but, man, we had no idea what was coming. All hell broke loose when those crackers started popping. We couldn't see them, but we could hear them, running away in all directions. There must have been 4 or 5 of something big, and bears don't group like that. It felt like we were in the middle of a cattle stampede. No shit, that is crazy, isn't it? I wonder how many times there's been that many with the same scenario when people have always emailed in and said this thing was walking around the tent. Meanwhile, there's a whole frickin' troop of them there. Everything was vibrating, from them running away with brush snapping, and then it happened. Something cut loose with a yell/scream that scared the hell out of us. It was ear-piercing like a train horn. We were all panicked. We built the fire back up and sat back to back until the sun came up. No more noises or heavy-footed running for the rest of the night, but we all felt watched. We got out of there at first light. We never saw any of them. We could only smell and hear them after the chaos started. That rotten meat, rancid sweat, and cesspool smell, and the god-awful scream. How the hell can anything make that noise? So loud, and it pierces your entire body. We were just scared shitless. When the sun come up, we looked around camp but didn't see anything before we left. Wow. Second possible encounter. Bracket, mutilation end bracket, mid-1990s. The second possible encounter happened in the mid-90s on the BC Okanagan border just south of Mount Baldy Ski Resort. It is located between Molson and Chesaw on the border fence. We owned 100 acres at that time, and we put up a log cabin in a garage. In the winters, we were snowed in, so we only stayed there late spring through the fall unless we came in by snowmobile. The hunting was awesome, and every year the elk herd used our property as a pathway to Canada. On this property, we have seen a UFO, and I personally had mine speak while hunting. Now on to the second case. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if, see, knowing me, I would probably sneak over the border in a heartbeat if I saw there was a great big bull right there, and I'd probably go after him. I wouldn't be able to stop myself. Now, if I did sneak across the border and harvest an elk and got it back home, would I have to tag it in Canada? Anyway. Oh. Okay. We never saw what caused this issue, but find it interesting, as I've never seen an animal mutilated this way. It was early on a Saturday morning, and we had heard a deer scream like his throat had been partially cut. Shortly after that, the birds were circling the area. It was eerie. It gave you a shiver from the scream. Now, the property was a mixture of heavy trees, grassland, and standard Okanagan shrubs with vine maple. My mom and dad stopped. Sorry. My mom and dad strapped on their handguns and headed out to where they thought the incident happened. They were very cautious, as visibility was minimal in the heavy brush. They came across the ambush site. It was like a bowl mashed out of the heavy brush with a large game trail running through the middle of the depression, and was silent with no sounds. What they found scared my father to leave very fast. The head of the deer had been literally ripped off its neck and was missing. Blood was spread all over the area. The two back legs were broken and just hanging there. The cavity was gutted by ripping the deer open, and the organs were gone with the rest of the deer still laying there. My father hurried my mother out of the area and was filled with dread. He said he felt like they were next. I don't know any animal that kills a large mule deer that way. It was just unnatural. My mom and dad returned to the cabin and watched the birds, most of the day making noise over the kill site. It was the only time we had a kill on the property. My dad sold the property so the proceeds would help Mom when he was gone in late 2015. That's creepy. Third possible encounter. Mind speak, October 2004. We were all at the cabin for another deer hunting season in October 2004. My mom, dad, brother, and me and my uncle were all up for the season. I had my eye on a monster muley I've been tracking for several years and was hoping to harvest it this year. We've always teamed up when we hunt. It makes it easier to share the workload and keeps you safer. Now, I was the only one in the family that believed in Sasquatch due to my first possible encounter sent in earlier. Before that, I always hunted and fished alone when I was younger, but due to Sasquatch, stopped. I've had nightmares about meeting one since I was young. My uncle and I headed out early that Saturday morning to stake out a game trail that looked like a racetrack. We hoped to fill both tags. Well, we saw nothing all morning. Unusually quiet with no game movement, with the exception of a string of muleys running away about 500 yards in the distance, running between alder groves. Now, my uncle used my grandfather's .348 Winchester, and I used a .300 Remington Ultra Mag for the open plane shots. That'll do it. I've got one of those. I never used it for, well, I shot a deer with it, but I used that for myself for guided grizzlies. I used the Cannon because of big bear in the area, both black and grizzly. There you go. With nothing happening, we had decided to head back to camp and get ready for an evening hunt. We were coming up on a road, split, heading back to camp, and I heard this voice say, "Turn around." As I did, there was the monster buck and one doe with him, and 25 yards behind us in the fork of the road. They were too close for me to shoot, and since my uncle had opened sights, I told him to take the shot if it presented itself. I told him that I was going to head down the other fork in the road to cut them off, just in case the buck split from the doe like they often do. He continued to follow them for a shot, but lost them in the brush. As I was hustling to get to a shooting position, I heard a voice in my head that said, "Stop, wait here behind this bush for the deer." Holy shit. It shocked me, but was clear as day, just like you and I talking. I assumed it was my long-departed grandfather speaking to me. He is an avid hunter, so I went with the mind speak and hid behind the bush. Sure as hell, here comes the buck, at a lope, and slowed to a slow walk, so I had a perfect shot alley between the two groves of trees about 15 yards wide. And there it was, just like the voice said. And I was shocked, but I had business to do, so I took aim and squeezed and dropped it 75 feet away. I have a muzzle brake on the .300 Rum, and needless to say, I lost my hearing for a day due to that loud bark. No one believed my mind speak event, but I got the deer, so I guess it didn't matter. Was it the big guy? Don't know. That's a strange one. Fourth and last encounter. Mind speak / sighting, spring 2023. I visit my mother every weekend I can get away from work. I live in Everett, Washington, and my mother lives in Bremerton, Washington, the shipyard town. My dad passed in 2017, so I visit as much as possible. Excuse me. I was on a visit this last spring. Basically, I come over very early in the morning and do some shopping and make breakfast for her and my brother who lives with her. Most weekends are a short visit, and then I drive to Kingston to catch an early ferry boat home. I was heading to Kingston after the visit, and was about 2 miles short of the ferry, driving by a logged out area that was full of new growth and stumps. As I was driving, it was early morning, maybe 7:30ish. So many shadows from the trees along the side of the road. I noticed someone walking in the shadows the opposite way I was driving, like walking toward me. I was staring at them or it, but my mind was telling me to move along, nothing to see here, and it bothered me. It just didn't add up. I drove about another 100 yards or so and turned around because it bothered me. Something told me it wasn't a man. The speed limit is 50 miles per hour at this location, so you go by pretty quick. I zipped back to where I had seen this person walking and nothing was there. There was no place to go except a farm on the same side of the road and the logged off area on the other. I noticed the cedar boughs were farther off the ground than I thought, and this person had to be very tall to be that close to them. As I thought more about what I had seen, all I could discern was it was dark brown/black with no features. It could have been a person, as I would have seen more. The surrounding area had enough light definition that if it was a person, I would have seen features. Did it just mind F me? Tell me to move on, nothing to see here, and then disappear? I just don't know. The more I thought, the less it made sense. I'm pretty sure I was driving by it distracted. I'm pretty sure as I was driving by it, it distracted me long enough to disappear. Well, this is my latest possible sighting. Thanks for everything you do at the Round Table of Knowledge, Steve. And a quick note from me, which I'll read now. Alright, I got the message, and a quick direct message for the person who just emailed. Appreciate everything you sent. Now, if I perform the request, this absolutely goes against your wishes about your name in the beginning, right? So let me sit on that for a little bit, and I'll figure out a way around it. Okay, and I'll get it done for sure. And in the meantime, if you want to send me more of what you know, and I don't give a shit what the topic is, being where you are, go ahead and share it. And what I think I might do is just leave this with me, and I'll get it done. All right, I'll get it done. And I'm sending prayers to you to heal and be healthy again. And I absolutely appreciate you sending in and taking the time out to send everybody all of this through me. And make sure you email me back with more. Why? Because I'm greedy. I want to hear it all from everyone. So make sure you email me more, all right? And email me more, and to make sure you remind me of the task that I want to do at the end of the email. But I hope you understand that I can't do it right now, right? Obviously. Here we go again. Who's next? You know, one thing I'll add in, you took me, as soon as you mentioned the trail, something happened in a bowl-like depression, something happened there. That took me right back to one evening I was up in northern BC in a remote camp, which is north of the Alaska Highway. Closer to the Yukon than not. And it was evening time, and this particular outfit I got it for has been around since 1968 or something. I don't know, 71, I forgot. And so some of the old horse trails are blazed. It's hard to decipher if they're horse or game trails until you see the odd cut off old spruce stump or something. And I always took note of this one old trail, and I wondered where it went. And I thought that it might drop back down from the mountain range we're in and drop back down into the same valley that our little airstrip and cabins in, so I timed it for last light in the evening. My hunter got to Mexico. And I said, I'll just walk down this trail. See if I think it might go back to camp, then we don't have to ride all the way back over to the peaks and all the way down across and blah, blah, blah. And if there isn't a trail, oh well, we'll bushwhack it to get to the bottom. Whatever, that's how you learn country, right? So anyways, we start going down the trail, we're going downhill. And we always make everyone dismount the horses when we're going downhill because their front ends are like vehicles. You don't want to wear them out. Take it easy on the horses, right? They're your most valuable item in the north. Unless, of course, I have somebody who's somewhat disabled or senior and not so able to get around smoothly, then I'll let them sit on the horse, but not usually. So we're both walking the horses. And it's thick spruce, muskeg, big fluffy moss, okay? Like big fluffy moss on the ground, not dirt. And stuff's hell when it gets wet. Anyway, and the spruce trees are about, I don't know, they're stunted. They're about 12 footers thick. But they're about like this, right? And I'm going down, and it just had drizzled rain later on after lunchtime. Now it's evening. There's a light mist in the air. It's cool. The thermals are changed. So the cold air is dropping. It's at our back, so I'm not trying to be quiet. I'm just basically, the hunt's over for the evening. I'm just basically following this old trail to see if it is a good access trail to get up to these mountains over here again from the Valley Bottom. So I'm going down the trail, and it drizzled. And the trail's that typical dirt, right? Just nice dirt. And it's all flattened right over from being rained on, not a track on it, and then boom, here's this frickin' front pad of a grizzly bear. I don't know. Like that, and a back foot like this, right? Just a big hammer of a bear. Big grizzly. And you can see where he's coming up the trail. They stopped dead in his tracks. I mean, these tracks are brand spanking new. You can see where he pivoted a couple times on his front pads. So obviously you can smell me coming, right? And then what they do is they step off. They let you go by. And it's never stressed me out ever because they're too intelligent. They know what's up. They know what's up. They know I'm not sneaking in on them, obviously, because the wind is at our back. They already know from years of experience. We don't know he's there. And this is the public highway. It's a main trail. It's a public highway, right? Shit happens. So we can't, what I'm saying is we're not guilty. We shouldn't be guilty in a bear's eyes of anything. Anyway, so we're going down and I go, oh, holy cow, check out these grizzly tracks. I said to my hunter, hey, come here. Check out these tracks, man. Really? Grizzly? I can't mimic the Mexican accent very well. I've tried it in the past and everybody just laughs at me. But he's just like, really? Big one? And I go, yeah, it's a frickin' monster, man. And he's listening to us talk right now. He's right here. On either side of this trail, listen to us. He's right here. Well, that's pretty cool. It is kind of funny, but you know what? When you're in the north, you know that there are grizzly bears within earshot of you every single day somewhere. They just are. You rarely see them. They're too smart, unless you really want to see one and you're hunting them, and then I mix up your tactics, and then we start seeing them. But anyway, you just don't see them. They're too smart. And there's no mystery that you pass them on the trail all the time. You just do. And you see their prints on top of our boot prints and our horse prints daily. After we rode in the evening, we ride back in the morning, there's grizzly tracks on our trail eventually, right? There just is. But I'm going down the trail, and then I went down another 10 yards, and I'm looking around. Remember I said it's that big fluffy green thick moss on the ground in that spruce. And all of a sudden it's just like this emailer said, you could just tell something went down here, man. It's like, whoa. And it's a tight trail. It's a horse trail's about like this. And then it's probably not even, I can't see farther than either side of the wall in this room. And I'm like, holy shit, something just happened here. I'm not saying it out loud, but I'm thinking, whoa, something just happened here. You just tell that something just went down right here in the space, and then I look downhill because it was on a bit of a slope. And here's this cow moose laying on her back with steam and blood coming out of her nose. How did he kill it? I didn't look to see how he killed it. Obviously he killed it. The grizzly bear just killed that moose. Just ambushed her on the same trail and killed her. And she was right there. Hadn't even ripped into her yet. Dragged her, buried her, nothing. She's on her back with steam coming out of her nose. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it, because when you're well versed in what they do, after reading up as many books as you can, especially from this one wildlife biologist, and they said, on average, when he took all the bear encounters he could from North America, and they compiled your averages of what happens in the average in each scenario, and he said, on average, when a person walks into a grizzly bear with its kill, it doesn't just chase you off. it doesn't chase you and catch you and beat you up. On average, it runs you down and kills you. And that's imprinted in the back of my mind like a tattoo, right? Also, another one too is when you bump into a sow, grizzly, and cubs in the trail, if she charges, if the cubs stay there and she charges, she's probably going to kill you. If the cubs go up a tree and she charges, she's probably going to kill you. If the cubs run the other way and she charges you, she's probably just going to beat you up a little bit and then run after the cubs. And in the worst case scenario, the cubs are 3 years old and they all join her in the charge and they all rip the shit out of you. That's what should have happened to me with another story, which I cannot believe I survived. But anyway, you just put me right there with that memory. And there's that moose laying on her back, steam coming out of her nose, dead quiet, and then everything goes slow motion, and I'm just looking back, get on your horse, get on your horse, get on your horse. I'll never forget, as I'm climbing onto my horse, it almost felt like I couldn't get it on fast, couldn't get on the horse fast enough, because you're just waiting to feel teeth ripping into your ass cheek and pulling you right back into the forest or something, right? Never forget that. Never saw the bear, but I got more happened with that particular moose kill later on. Maybe I'll share that another time. I already did online maybe, but anyway, there you go. Memories jerked back into the mind. Thanks for sounding in again, man. Sorry for the babble. Alright. Who's next? Mark, this is Brad. My face isn't feeling too good right now. I'm gonna have to give in and go get some painkillers, I think. Whoa. 1 second. Occurrences. Hi, Steve. My name is Randy Archie. Pronounced Archie, not archery. LOL. Say my name, I have nothing to hide. Okay, Mr. Archie. I'm 67 years old, and all my occurrences have happened in the Wayne National Forest in southeast Ohio. I've been roared at, growled, and whistled at. Heard strange voices and children playing, all while bow hunting deer in the fall and turkey hunting in the spring. In the early 90s, me and my friend Pat were scouting for deer. I was walking down a forest road and he was off to my right, across a large strip mine pond and up on a small ridge. Excuse me. As I came to a large game crossing, something let out a very loud roar / bellow between us. It was so loud it shook me to my core. I yelled, "Pat, was that you?" Knowing there was no way that he could have done that. I ran back to camp, sucking air. A few minutes later, Pat came running into camp, out of breath, and asked me if I had made that sound, LOL. We discussed what it could have been. Pat said that he has heard elk make strange noises while hunting in Wyoming, but nothing like that. So there's no other explanation about Bigfoot. That sound never deterred us from hunting there, and still hunt there today. Quite a few times I've been whistled at, both bow hunting and turkey hunting. I always hang my tree stand in the same tree year after year. I've heard very strange voices, like people talking really fast and children playing. I've had stumps disappear. 1 minute they're there, turn my head, look back, and they're gone. This has happened a few times. I've been growled at so many times that I've earned the nickname of Growler. I never really get concerned about it until once I was deer hunting with a crossbow. I was sitting against a tree in a small thicket watching over a large group of white oaks. Something began growling behind me. At first it was a low growl. It eventually turned into a loud guttural growl. That's the only time I ever got concerned enough to head back to camp with plenty of daylight left. About 5 years ago I was turkey hunting and decided to go back to camp for a hot cup of coffee. While walking down an old gas line road, I came around a bend, and about 50 yards ahead of me was, what I thought, another hunter. He was around 5 feet tall and dressed in gray. As we looked at each other, he bent over, threw his arms back, and leaped across the road and into the brush. The road was 10 to 12 feet wide. The figure was not heavily muscled, like so many people describe, so it took me a few minutes of arguing with myself to finally decide that it was a juvenile Bigfoot / Grassman / Sasquatch. I'm still getting wire-haired every time I think about it. No doubt. I know this email is getting long, but there's a couple more things to tell about. While turkey hunting in the spring of 21, the birds had all flown down, and I was thinking about which gobbler to go after. Behind me, I heard a very loud baritone voice say, "Hey, yeah." It scared the bejeebers out of me, and I had time to dust myself off before coming down. I thought it must have been another hunter letting me know that he was there, but it was so loud. I looked around, there's nobody there. Now I want to tell you a story that my 91-year-old mother has told for years. When she was a young girl back in the 40s in southern Ohio, she and some friends went to steal apples from a neighbor's apple tree that was up a large hill behind the neighbor's house. When they got to the tree, a black figure jumped out of the tree and ran away on 2 legs. They all ran back to the house and told the adults there what they saw. They were told there's probably a black bear. The term Bigfoot wasn't known at that time. One day at my mom's house, I turned the TV on to a Bigfoot program, and my mom said, "There, that's exactly what we saw." Okay, Steve, my wife encouraged me to write this email, so blame it on her, lol. I've been binge watching all the older programs of yours and have enjoyed all of them, but I will say that while searching YouTube for Bigfoot stuff and how to hunt came up, I had to watch. When the show came on and there was a guy sitting on a quad on the banks of a noisy river bitching about politics, I knew that it was going to be good. Thanks for all you do, Steve. Randy Archie. Randy, appreciate you, man. This place is nothing. This place is nothing without people like you. All right? And everybody else here. This is one hell of a big team, global team effort, right? One hell of an effort here from everybody. Well, there you go. More people. More members of the Club of No Return never asked to join. Isn't that crazy? Nobody ever asked to join this club. Once you know, you know. There's no going back. Isn't that funny? There's no going back. Alright, here's a short one. Returned scope cover. Steve, you asked us to let you know of returned items. About 18 months ago, you shared my experiences with the big guy. Thank you for that. It has given me more courage to discuss him with others. While hunting in Swan Valley in northwest Montana, this was back in the late 90s or early 2000s, I was walking along a game trail and realized my rear scope cover was coming loose. In fact, it fell off a couple times, but I was able to find it. A couple hours later, I realized it was gone. I knew there was no way I was going to find it. Then as I had wandered around a bit and no way I was going back to backtrack my exact... Sorry. A couple hours later, I realized it was gone. I knew there was no way I was going to find it. Then, as I had wandered around a bit, and no way I was going back to backtrack my exact path. There were no other hunters in the area, midweek. And back then, hunters would avoid areas others were hunting. I got back to my truck later in the day, and there on the hood was my scope cover. I said, thanks to whomever brought this back. I had a warm feeling of, you're welcome, come over me. I don't know how else to explain it. I guess it was mind speak. As always, you can use my name, Dennis Barrow. Dennis Barrow, Helena, Montana. Appreciate you, Dennis. That's a strange one. I didn't get any feelings at all except for absolute frickin' amazement when I unzipped my backpack and there's that blade sitting there. But the feeling I got from that noise in the timber, what was that, 3 or 4 nights later by myself? That wasn't a warm feeling. That wasn't a warm feeling for me, I'll tell you what. Not that night. And there you go. So many people have emailed in with their missing items returned. It's absolutely ridiculous. So many people. Appreciate you sending that in, man. Alright, I'm going to keep going. This isn't too bad, this one. This isn't too long. I think the sun's busting out from that big downpour we just had. I'm feeling huge pressure right here, man. But the doctor didn't say not to talk. So there's no way I can sit around and do nothing. I can't do it. Greetings from Georgia, USA. Hey, Steve. This email is mostly for you, but I don't care if you read it out loud or share my name. First off, I want to say thank you for sharing everyone's encounter stories. I haven't had one myself, nor do I wish for one. Having said that, I'm a firm believer in educating myself a little bit of everything. Anyhow, I was writing to possibly help you out a little. You're talking about having issues with your mouth. A good thing to do to combat any oral infections is to get a cup of hot water, as hot as possible, add salt, 4 to 5 tablespoons per 1 cup of water, and rinse your mouth out with it until all the water is gone. And not only will the salt help numb the pain and the throbbing, but it'll help kill the infection. Continue to do it at least 3 times throughout the day, and I guarantee you will notice a huge difference in the morning. Also, I want to tell you about thiamina, 300 milligram tablets. They are vitamin B1 tablets. Not only do they help with muscle cramps, but best of all, you can take 1 a day or 2 before you go out to an area where there might be mosquitoes, and it repels them. No way. Really? The vitamin causes your body's pheromones to change in a way that repels mosquitoes. No way. They won't smell/notice the difference. Well, I thought they were attracted from our breath. I'm not exactly how it works, but it does. I am a mosquito magnet. I can bathe myself in the strongest repellent, the kind where the back of the can warns of possibly sprouting some god-awful cancer, and nothing. Mosquitoes still give me the finger, disrespect the hell out of my repellent. I shit you not. I am Shangri-La for mosquitoes. Back to my point. A few weeks ago I was in Colombia, South America, getting bit up as per us, Eustace, and my brother's friend tells me about the pills. Being completely miserable, I was willing to try anything. These pills are a godsend. Honestly, they're super cheap and it's totally worth it. You won't regret it. Hope these tips bring you some relief. Take care of yourself. This world needs more men like you and Dave. It's comforting to see that there's still men in this world that have integrity and balls. Best wishes to you, Sarah, y'all's loved ones, and all the Howdown family. You have one more that'll stand beside you in battle. I might be small, but from what I hear, I can be scary. Tatiana Halam. All right, Tatiana, appreciate you on that tip. Big time, and I'll use it. Oh, my nose. It makes my nose just itches from the pressure's vibrating with my talking. Anyways, I'm babbling. Sorry. I'll try it, especially for me, because next July, I'm going to get flown in now. And where I'm going, the mosquitoes are absolutely... You'll never experience mosquitoes like that ever. It's amazing. I can remember cutting trail up in that country horseback, and I had green Helly Hansen rain pants on with a fold. Just a fold. Put a fold like that I put a fold like that down my thigh. And right at the bottom was my pile. And so here's the fold of my rain pants right here. Say, okay, I can't tap I got a needle sticking in my arm right now, but I'd make a crease in my rain pants like that. And my thigh was on an angle. And I would literally hold my hand this high off of my leg. And I would go like this. Just like that. And each time I slapped down, I would kill at least a half a dozen mosquitoes plus every time I went like this. And what I was doing, because every time I slapped my hand down, the dead mosquitoes would slide down that crease and end up in a pile. And I made a pile of mosquitoes that tall. I was just doing it to see. I was showing my buddy. I'm like, watch this. We were just sitting there having a quick snack. We were cutting trail in the middle of nowhere. The horses and chainsaw. And I wanted to see how many actual mosquitoes I would kill during lunch and how big of a pile of dead mosquitoes I had on the ground below my rain pan. That is thick mosquitoes. Excuse me. So, yes, I will be trying those tablets. For sure. because when I go up to that country in July, I'm going to be going straight up into the mountains, and the mosquitoes are up there too. And I'm just going to be hanging out all day long, sitting with binoculars and spotting scope, looking for a huge old ram for days. That's all I'm going to do. So I usually get lathered up in the nasty, same deal, the nasty mosquito repellent that causes every cancer under the sun. So I'll give it a go. But anyway, that's it for today. Probably my limit too, because I'm starting to feel huge pressure and the pain's wearing off. I'm going to go have to go in and throw down some more pills, I guess. Get this edited up and shared. And encourage more people to come out and share the truth. Just share your truth. To share my story at howtohunt.com. Word for word, man. Whatever you send is word for word. Spare your name, it's spared. No problem. We got you. There's no one that I know of to not trust here yet. Right? And it hasn't caused anybody any pain or discomfort for sharing their experiences. All I keep hearing is it's caused nothing but good. So there you go. If you're on the fence, jump off and do it. What else? What else? What else? Those cool frickin' pendants, hat clips and pendants made. I think Sarah's got 36 left, I think, to get thrown into the packages with your orders for free. And the contact for the creator will be in those packages too, if you want to order something extra special for you or somebody else. And there you go. I'll be back again shortly. Unless this thing swells up and blows my head off in the middle of the night tonight, I shall be back tomorrow.